So I've been in product for about 20 years now. I started with my very first job creating an e-commerce platform and a distance learning platform in Brazil. Then got into my graduate program there and here, studying consumer behavior, which is digital marketing here. From there on, always owning a particular product within the organization. What does that actually mean, owning a product? So when you decide to purchase an item, that's a product, right? So it could be this clicker, it could be my jacket, it could be my glasses, it could be my watch. There are digital products and also physical products, but now we have hybrid products like wearables. We have a piece that's digital and there's a software within it, which is the digital product. So that's what I do today. I work exclusively with digital products on the e-commerce side. I oversee card not present payment gateway options for Cayan, the company I'm coming from. Anything from e-commerce, back office, catalog businesses, anything that doesn't touch credit card. There's a piece for POS, point of sale, that does with card physically, when you swipe your card. Mine is everything that's not related to the physical card. So I create products for merchants or business to businesses that need to purchase things online. That's my goal. This product is not something black and white, right? So you don't start here and you only do one thing linearly until the end and you have your product. Because a product is a component of many different facets of a life cycle, especially if you're talking about software, right? So there's a design piece, there's the requirement piece, there's the technical piece, there's the architecture piece. And the product owner needs to not know everything about it, but just be adventurous enough to lead the development of it, right? And one of the key pieces here that I want to talk to you guys today is this. You need to understand a little bit what the dictionary is so you can navigate through it. And then all the courses that the product school develops gives you that ability to say, when someone says this, that's what it means. And then I'm going to go over an exercise that I learned back in the day on how to get information out of people in the efficient way. I usually do the exercise at the end. We're going to do that together. And then there's another piece here that I want to help you understand how you're going to trim your backlog and find the right departments to add to your product. Okay? Does anyone have a question on this in particular? Especially in terms of the dictionary. How do you learn the right words? Where do you go to understand what people are saying from the product discipline in general? Again, there's no right and wrong. I just want to hear from you so I can tailor my presentation. So you have a team of product owners. So when you guys talk, so how do you know they're understanding what you're saying? Where do you guys go? Where is that source of truth for product development in your team? It's one piece. Engineers. So that's market, that's technology.
Are you talking about where it's documented source of truth? Like where it's actually going, or are you talking about the visual?
The different contributions coming from every person. So all of you guys are speaking the same language. So then, because I'm going to get to this. Because you come from different places within the organization, right? Marketing, or market needs, technology, where else? I'm going to jump a couple slides here. So this is the world of product. The blue is the outside, and the green is the inside world of the product. So I'll start simple here, because that's usually where you hear most of your requirements coming from. Marketing and communications. So does any one of you engage in daily activities with anyone in marketing? And why is that? Because they are the closest one to the customers, right? because they are promoting and gathering data on your product, so you can come back and say, am I creating the right product to that market? Then you can also have here your sales team who is selling the product you are creating. In my organization, there are two types of sales team. One is a direct sale, people that pick up the phone and call, and there's a partner team, which is mostly business to business that develop relationships. So all those folks bring to the product lead ideas, needs, pain points to say this product that is created in phase one does not meet those needs. Or I heard of something that our product might need to be enhanced in order to enter the market, for example. Okay, sometimes you just focus on one industry, let's say retail, but then there's an opportunity with healthcare. They need to create a new set of requirements. You have to make an adaptation of your product. The foundation is going to be the same, but you're going to create a new branch of functionalities applied to a particular industry. That usually comes from here. So what does finance have to do with this?
How much resources you get to?
The budget.
Good. ROI. Like, are you being profitable? Does anyone have heard of the word P&L? You as the product lead, I heard this, I think it was from you the last time we talked, like a new small CEO of a product line. That stayed with me. So you are, as a product owner, responsible for the P&L of a product or a product line. I manage about $17 million in my company. It's a lot of freaking money. And I have about 22 different products that I need to know, like item line, if it's profitable or not. And then I have to go back within the circle to say, where can I go to understand how to make more money or how to improve, or to just simply say, this product doesn't work anymore for this market. We're either going to have to adapt, pivot it, or just sunset it. Let's get going. So legal, why legal? Can you tell me why legal is here? That's privacy, that builds legal and engineering.
When you're breaking into new markets, there can be some stated landmines that if you have legal input, you can avoid it or decide that that's not something you want to do it, but also in established markets dealing with IP, obviously, there's lots of stuff for legal.
How about regulations?
You have to be compliant.
PCI, in my case, because I deal with a lot of payment data. I go to my, like, how about naming? Like when you create a new product, right? Can you call it Starbucks?
I give you GDP.
One of the lawsuit.
Can I call
Not for
it
long.
let's see, something like, well, this is a word bar, like we work. The word work is right there, right? So there's a whole new world here that they need to come to the table with you to say, hey, I am creating this product. Is there any barrier that I need to be aware of? ATA compliance. What is it that I created one of the most famous apps in this country, which is the on-the-go app for Dunkin' Donuts. That was my baby. And I don't have free coffee for the rest of my life, which is very depressing. But legal came to me. I was in my very last iteration of my product. We are going beta in New York. It wasn't ATI compliant. Because my app was very colorful, as you can see, like it's orange, it's pink, it's like popping things left and right. Colorblind. My buttons had different colors. I had to redo my whole design before I could go live.
And so I'm surprised that legal picked up on that as opposed to the, like some of the UX.
UI UX, they had
accessibility.
their understanding of it, but it wasn't a regulation, it wasn't mandatory. Legal came back and said, you have to, in order for you to go to some markets, you have to comply. It's your responsibility, and you're not the one who's going to remember all this. I did not even, it wasn't in my radar on this, because I'm not colorblind. How would I know? Right? The menu, like the bar, the sandwich bar that goes left and right, had to redesign everything. So professional services. After the fact, who's going to pick up the phone and say or listen to the customer complaining that I cannot merge my gift cards for God's sake? Oh, the Starbucks app, they merge cards. Why doesn't engineering? So those are my house day in and day out. They tell me, like, you're too creative, we can't do this. And then of course, who pays the bills here? We need to be behind you. When you put the roadmap together, especially if you're coming from scratch, make sure you have someone who's behind you to say, yes, this is an approved product we invest in, and then make sure that is approved throughout the company. But this is just internal, your house. How do you collect information from your partners, your consumers, and market analysis? Give them an example. That's when you're doing data, yes. But when the product is live, how do you collect consumer information?
A/B testing.
As before. Analytics, usage, yeah, what?
NPS score.
Yes.
I mean, you can get them.
After the product is live, you're playing with it, how do I collect consumer insight?
Exactly, like from the customers, they will give
By how?
KPIs.
You're determining what you want to know. I want to know how you get, so I am here using the app. How does that information, that behavior gets to me as the product lead?
Well, I think there are a few ways. I thought I heard someone say usability testing. I don't know, but I would go to the professional services folks or the customer service. What are people calling about? What are the problems that they're having? I mean, unless I were able to set up some way to directly interact with them through some sort of a.
What are the different ways to interact directly with a consumer? You as a consumer, do you get surveys?
Sure. We never answer them. We get them.
If we entice you with free coffee or free donut or something, you answer.
Yeah.
So surveys is money made. We made marketing campaigns, promos, competitions online. Social media is great for this. That's one of the ways today you collect information. Market analysis, in a sense, they are companies, consulting companies, that are studying behavior and providing reports to you. That's usually a paid service. And your partners is kind of the sales team here, where they are on a day-to-day talking to your consumers, so they provide you feedback too. Has anyone done any focus group experience? Have you participated or done one of them? Just like right here, right now.
I mean, I haven't done that kind of work. Again, from the UX perspective, I prefer to avoid focus groups because there's a sort of a crowd mentality where one person sort of dominates the conversation, everyone else sort of agrees. So I try to do sort of a one-on-one sort of feedback. So typically, in my experience with product development, the product team is there's product management and development as you have, and then like in UX, it's like a little triumvirate of those three. In my experience, rarely are we sort of in marketing. Hopefully, we're in the product side of things. Sometimes they stick us in engineering.
Yes, the product, usually product, depending on the organization. So when I worked at Dunkin', my department was called Product Marketing Technology. I wasn't marketing and I wasn't technology. I wasn't right in the middle. It's like, okay, so who pays my bills? Marketing, because they have the budget. The technology piece is to make sure that I have the right architecture in place. But the products mostly sits on technology. But again, take information from marketing, because you only build what the market is looking for. Okay? I'm gonna go back, I'm going backwards here, but I want to go over these with you first, because I started with dictionary. Stakeholders. I'm not talking about the shareholders, those people that put money down to say, I'm giving you $1 million, I want $1 million back in 6 months. I'm talking about stakeholders, people that have a stake on the product, meaning putting their input to make sure that the product that's being developed is actually effective, profitable, minimal to what we're trying to do. So stakeholders just focus on the word stake, someone with a stake in the business. Okay, and that's why we came here to list them. Product requirements document. Why do we need one?
Otherwise, you end up in the same boat. It's your reference point for the entire development cycle, and if you don't have it, that's how you end up paying 10 times as much as you expected.
It's your North Pole, right? So what is it that you're building? So let's drop the word product here. You probably have heard requirements document, but there are several types. What are those types that you probably have heard? Because product is the whole package, but there is one that's a bit market requirements.
Technical requirements.
BRD usually.
BRD, which is the business requirements. Functional, technical, marketing, business. There are several pieces of this that come together to make up the product requirement document. So for you, it's probably just the UX requirement document.
Well, I was gonna say user requirements.
Yes. But then you have a technical
But we do have, yeah, technical and functional, the two other
that
terms.
put together makes for the product requirements document. But you need somewhat a requirements document to cover for the MVP. You probably have heard of this word many times, which is minimal viable product. What is an MVP? There's a whole PDF. I think if you go on Kindle and look into the library, there's a free MVP document that's really useful and it's very simple. You understand how to create and how to identify what the MVP is for the product that you're creating. So what is an MVP for you?
Building a product which gives more value to the customers.
That's one piece.
Ideally, it's the fastest way to test whatever assumption you have, whether there's value. It's what literally is the minimum thing that will meet the requirements that you can then know whether this is something worth pursuing or not.
Okay, so basically, what is the minimum viable product that your consumer will be satisfied if you go to market with? Keep that in mind. Your audience is always your consumer. You have all those stakeholders internally and externally to help you guard the optical straight. But the consumer will tell you what the MVP is. Do you need all these apps that you have on your phone in order to have, your watch, in order to have the watch? Probably not. But you need to have a case. You need to have some sort of software here that tells you the time, at least, right? Alarm, those basics. That's what an MVP is. So you need a car, right? You need a steering wheel. You need wheels. You need a case. But you don't need leather seats. You need seats, but you don't need leather seats. So that's the differentiation in this with these people. Keep that in mind. Requirements. So when I started my career, and we talked about this, we're going backwards. I started. Oh, we also went through this. But I'll go back here as I do this. Have you seen this? Besides the people that have gone to my other presentation, have you seen this? Very simple exercise that we're going to work on today. 7, okay, that time. So basically, it's a very simple exercise to take information out of those stakeholders So you as the product lead, you can make a call of what requirements are minimal for the product or that iteration of the product. So basically it's the product requirement tree. And you can do this for anything you want. It's just really a simple way to collect information. So basically you have your product name here, and usually it's the foundation, the infrastructure, make sure you have it there. And then you have different branches here where you can have a feature or you can have it per stakeholder. You put together this tree in front of people and say, okay, engineering team, tell me about what you want this product to be. What are the minimum requirements you need for this product to be available? Hey, marketing, talk to me about what needs you're trying to fulfill. Legal, are there any limitations on the development of this? Are there any regulations that I need to be aware of that I need to take into account in my product? UX team, what kind of experience you're trying to provide? Is it digital? Is it screen? What kind of friction do you have? Then you just put them all aligned here, and then you start the fun. You start crossing them off or adding more to it. So you create the tree around it to say, I have my business requirements, I have my technical requirements. Remember all those versions of it, to put them together in a piece of paper and say, this is the requirements that we're going to pursue, and that's what we're going to build. Make sense? You guys are great.
So do you collect them individually from each department, like
Yes.
separately?
Yes. No, you don't want all those people in the same room. No. Because I've done it. To your point, they influence each other. It's like, oh, I want this. Well, how about this? No. Get the engineers with the engineers. Get the marketing with marketing. Get legal with legal. It's usually 1 or 2 people, really. You don't need everyone in the room. Usually you get, 2 or 3 software developers with an architect. They be enough. I still do this. I don't do it with the tree anymore because it gets boring after a while. Everybody had enough fun. But the way that I usually do, I have this on screen like this, or I glue with a lot of Post-its. Every branch has Post-its, and then they have to come here, pick up one, and put down the requirements, and put that back on. So you do that for like half an hour, and you collect a lot of information. And it's not rigid, and it's not like I'm taking notes. It's not that one-on-one conversation in a sense that you're just gathering it. It's like everyone, like just getting up and picking up a Post-it makes it completely different. You get different colors because you can start categorizing them within that group.
In scope, my personal experience working with, especially engineers on one side and then everyone else on the other, is that the engineers don't have a good sense of like what the customer's needs are, and no one else has a good sense of what the engineers can actually do.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like you end up with I've had experience like meetings where you end up with the trees very unrealistic on both sides.
Well, that's your job as a product person, right? So in my previous presentation, I was talking about roadmaps. What is your goal for this product? Are you going to drive revenue? Are you going to drive market share? Do you try to solve a particular product problem? So let's say in the beginning of the conversation, I was mentioning changing industries, retail to healthcare, for example. So that would drive you to say, these requirements here do not apply to the scope of this iteration. But as we're doing agile, that can be a different iteration, maybe done. The road wants to test it and you release it to market. So you, as a product lead, keep that within a frame of scope that you determine through the roadmap. Because all the requirements go back to the roadmap, kind of here, on the backlog piece. And then if you have an existing backlog, you can also go back and say, how many of these requirements are already here, so you can prioritize within the company's goals. because in the beginning of the year, at least in my organization, or not really the beginning, it's usually now, October, November, with the fund, what we're gonna build for 2019, right? So I sit down with my VP and understanding what the market is back here. I'm doing this exercise now. So should I invest on Apple Pay or Google Pay? Or should I do WeChat or Alipay? I put this all in front of my boss. I design the roadmap. I put the resources that I need, the money that I'm going to allocate. This is all guessing game at this point because I don't have the engineers allocated. I don't know how much I'm going to spend, but I have a budget that I can work with. Then you put the ROI in front of them, and then you categorize, and then he approves my roadmap, goes to the executive team. The executive team have a totally different understanding of this, and then they approve what I am envisioning for 2019. And guess what? I start working on this, and then first quarter of 2019, I get a big deal from sales to say, we need Alipay by the end of June, because I have a client who's going to put money down because we are expanding to the Middle Eastern. And then you go over requirements again. What is the MVP for Alipay? Go back, negotiate roadmap items. Things going to fall off, the list. Alipay is going to come up, and then you execute agile, done, out, and then you bring back on. After a while, you get a sense, of how many hours, if you have that ballpark, how many hours an engineering team or feature team, as we call it, FD, spends on a particular feature, and I usually put like 25% more, just in case. So if they spend 2 months on a feature that takes maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, I know how much they cost because I know how much an hour of an engineer costs. So I have that in front of it. It's not going to be precise, it's going to change, but it's just to give you an understanding of how this play out with all the others. Is this going to take 6 months? Is it going to take 3 months? That way you can just play the items and then go back to the requirements exercise to go down 2 or 3 levels deeper to know the minimum